Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be on with you tonight. We are working this evening with cello sheets. And just a minute while I get this straightened around here. Cello sheets. And it's a clear sheet done with a pattern that Simi Cakes have done for me. And then we're also going to be working time limiting with the Smart Sheet. And we're also going to be working with Simi, S-I-M-I, Isomalt. These are little pre-tempered tiles. What I did with making a blown bird, pre-made it before we came on. What I'm going to do with the cello, I'm going to decorate the bird with pieces of cello sheet. I'm going to show you right now one of the birds that I did just out of practicing and being able to use up little pieces of the cello sheet. And what I do with that is I spray it with vodka or else a high alcohol
content
to make it. And the reason I use that is that I'm going to attach it to Isomalt. And Everclear can work also. If you use anything that is like piping gel and things like that, it's too watery, and so therefore it can eat away on to your sugar. So here, I'm going to show you this bird that I did here, and it's kind of abstract as it turned out. And the way I look at it is you could do this with all your scraps, and this is what it's made out of. It's a blown bird that the neck didn't turn out really as well as I wanted it to, but it's kind of monstery looking. So I took all these little pieces of leftover cello sheet, like paper mache, and covered it. And if you look up closely, it's a blue bird, but then I took pieces and went all around it. And what it does to the sugar or the ice malt, when I say sugar, I'm talking about ice malt, and it seals it. You see, it's tight, so it might last 10 years with that on it. So you could use a clear one, and you see the pattern on it. That's all little pieces of cello. And the wings, which look like weird wings, but that is a Smart Sheet with the cello over top of it. And the cello was sprayed with, this is not potion. This is my little bottle that I use for vodka now. My potion is out in the other room. Now you can use the potion, but then you also have to put a drying agent into it because you don't want the wet onto your sugar. So I have a new bird that I've blown and put on a cake. And this is what we're going to decorate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut pieces of the cello. Simi Isomalt. They have printed this for me. It's a print that they printed, but you can get all kinds of them from Dab at Icing Images. And
well, the maybe printed not ones actually come from Simi Cakes. If you don't have a printer, definitely go there. If you do have a printer, we have the ones that you can print on.
I get all of them from Sydney. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move along here, and I'm going to put the camera down for you to see that how I'm cutting it up. Now this time, because I used up so many of my extra pieces, I'm going to cut it from a sheet and show you how to unattach it from it. And then I'm going to show you how I put it on the bird. So can you see that I have a cello sheet, and the backing on this sheet is acetate paper, and we save the acetate. And the other thing that I save the acetate for, and I'm going to mention a lot of things, hopefully we get it all, is that I use this if we have cakes, people that do cakes and smooth on a round or a flat edging around with buttercream. It works like a charm. So I save those pieces for that, and also for just placing melted down Isomalt. So I'm going to move the bird over a little bit. I'm going to take a little Sharpie here. Now, what we usually do is wet the corner of this, and I won't lick my fingers, and find the sticky side of the sheet. The sticky side is the printed side of the sheet. And you see how that's sticking? And then I put my finger that's wet on the other side, it just slides. So what we want to do, or I want to do, or you want to do when you do this, is just take, once you don't cut your sheet, you just take a Sharpie and just slide it along there and make a little indentation in it. And then I'm going to dry my finger off. I'm going to grab hold of it, just like that, and peel it off. Now, sometimes some people recommend don't pull the whole sheet at one time. I've pulled the whole sheet if it's a fresh one, and I've just had it ordered and brought it in. And even if it hasn't, I've pulled it and just gradually take it off. Now, I like to have the ink part up when I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to cut this in pieces, kind of just random pieces. And when I'm doing this, I like to spray the opposite side. And what I'm spraying it with, again, is vodka in a little container. This is the original container that I had from Icing Images that has the potion in it. And I have two larger ones out there, but I keep refilling this for my spritzing. So if you can't see me really well, what I'm going to do is move to the side here, and I'm just going to give it a shot, just like that. Then I'm going to lay that down for a second and bring the bird back so you can see me. Now you've got to remember I'm going to be working from the opposite side. Now, the great thing about cello is once it gets a little wet and sticky, tacky, you can stretch it. So I'm going to lay that right on that Isomalt, and I'm going to just pet it and stroke it nicely. And it's okay if there's a few little wrinkles in it and little marks, because this is supposed to give you an imaging. And see how nice that goes on there? Wow. No melting, nothing. No running of ink, nothing. And in minutes, that will be dry. And it's not making the bird tacky. So I'm going to give this, I'm going to use another piece on the other side. You saw me do that side. Maybe we'll do a little bit on the neck. Right now, we'll just cut that in a few pieces. I've got lots of leftover pieces that we can go around and just do the neck and the head. And so I'm just going to take this little piece and just like this, a little wee piece like that, give it a little spritz, come up here and wrap it around its little neck. And often I talk to a lot of young people while I'm teaching them. So if I talk a little babyish, I'm sorry, but it is a bird and we don't want to break the bird. So we're decorating just like you do with paper mache. And I have a strip here that I'd like to use. I'm going to take another little piece. And I have a bunch of leftover pieces Get her over to that's just a couple little spritz of vodka that I was using. And it just comes around there. And if I want to stretch that and pull it, you just have to wait a couple of seconds and it'll stretch and pull all the way around. That's the great thing about cello. You do have to, if you're using water or anything with it on another type of method, I would recommend that you work very quickly with it. Now, if I sit around and wait for a long period of time, it could get very tacky. I'm going to put this little guy down here. Just have it wrapped around. I have a bunch of little pieces we can do the head with. So then I'm going to turn this around here so you could see me spritz another piece.
Stacy says you can imagine putting a little luster dust into the spray so that it has a bit of a shimmer when it goes on.
You can also put the shimmer into your bird and it works too. And what I did with the color, I didn't use white Isomalt. I used clear Isomalt with Simi's beautiful color splash white. I really like this, and I like their full array of all different colors. They have a beautiful ocean blue and different colors on there. And you see, you do get some wrinkles in it, but after a little while, it's kind of like when I was showing the demo of putting it on buttercream and on a cake. If you wait a little bit, it'll kind of disintegrate. I'm going to cut a few more pieces here. How about we use a bunch of little scraps up, because that's basically what a lot of this is about. You see, I have a bunch of scraps in here that have been detached from the acetate paper. So I'm just going to spritz those and fill in all the gaps. And sometimes they stick together, and that's okay too. So I'm just going to fill in the back part here. And you see, because it's a pattern, you can also just fill it in and it just takes its place. If you find a little piece sticking up, you just rub it down, or just grab another little piece and fill this in here. I'm hoping I'm spritzing on the right side, but it doesn't really matter because it's not going to run that much. It'll dry very quickly. And you see, you just go around, and what it ends up doing is preserving the whole bird without having to spray it with PME. You could use a clear cello sheet on it, or any of your items that you might be making, and you just put it over top of it, and it will preserve it. I did it with a heart that I have over there, and I'll show it to you shortly.
When it's drier, do the cello sheets tend to curl more?
They don't curl at all.
They do for, not in Florida, but when you are like in a drier, a lot drier environment, they can curl on you.
Do they curl like on the item that I'm doing, or meaning curl when I take them off of the acetate? Is that what the question is?
Yeah.
And well, can you hear me, Jessie?
I have been with you, Deborah, at some event that we were at, and I think it was up in Orlando, and I was demoing for something, and yes, it did curl after it came off, but not very much. But that's also Florida too. Is that what you mean?
Can you hear me?
Did I answer that question?
Okay, she can't hear me.
I can hear you, Deborah.
Oh, you can. Okay. Yeah, if it's in a much drier environment than Florida, they can start to curl, but rather than pulling it off the sheet like you did here, you would actually have to handle it a bit differently. You don't want to pull the whole sheet off like that in drier environments. You want to actually lay the printed side down, and you want to pull the backing off,
Yes,
and just
like
go slowly.
yes, like you're doing lace. You know, you
Yes.
turn it upside down and pull it gradually off because it can crack.
Yeah, Kelly has a hard time because they do curl for her. Now, is it dry for you or humid for you? Is that one of the extremes, I guess, is my question, Kelly?
Yes. What temperature would it be up there? It is very humid where I am, and it always is, even in the wintertime, when what you call wintertime. But this year we had some pretty cold snaps, and so what I'm doing is I'm just placing it on there, and it's just taking its place, and it will seal. And what I like about it is that exactly that and you can use a clear cello to do it. Just take one little break here. This is just halfway wrapped, but this is a blown sugar heart, and it's wrapped with cello, clear. I wrapped it. And what you can do is wait a couple of seconds, and if you have it over top, and you can stretch it and lay it down over top of it, and it keeps it all shiny. And so the moisture doesn't get inside it.
So was a clear cello sheet over top of the heart?
That was clear. That was just a plain clear cello sheet on one of my blown sugar hearts. And I did that.
Do you still have to spray it with the PME glaze, or does that suffice?
You don't have to spray it with the PME, no. You don't.
So it acts as a protectant. That's pretty darn cool.
No, this isn't either. And it's not sticky either. Sometimes I wish the bird was sticky, but it's not sticky today.
You're used to sticky.
I'm very used to it being sticky. And it's okay, but when you're doing a large piece, you don't want it to be. See how little that little piece is there? I'm just going to give it a shot and put it in here around its head. Little pink piece. I turn that around so you can see that. And so it's down almost, and it got a cute little tail. Oh my gosh.
This is exquisite.
And I wanted it to have more wrinkly, but it doesn't. And the reason I like it to show you more wrinkly, like the little wrinkles in it, is because when Halloween comes along, if you take this technique and put it over top of something, you can make spooks, like spooky stuff, because you can crinkle it up and put it onto your blown sugar or piece of art, and you have spook, because it starts like that bird I showed you in the beginning. It has a personality of, it could be a dinosaur, it could be anything. But that's the way I am. I imagine them being something. I'm getting ready for Halloween, possibly. So I'm just tucking that under so that it has, and then what I do is I just paint the beak, or else you can put another piece and just draw it down there. And that's covered the bird. So that's not so hard.
Not at all.
No. And that won't be, that'd be minutes it's dry. See, I can't pull it. And if you don't want to use vodka, you can use moonshine in your squirt, or you can use something high alcohol. And this makes a beautiful piece on top of a cake. You can also do poured lettering with your Isomalt and then put this over top of it. That is another thing that I was going to show you, the clear sheet shortly. I'm just going to melt a little bit of this Isomalt, or get Dave to, my tech guy over here, to melt this down for me a little bit, because I'm going to show you how to cut the wings and do the same thing, but using a Smart Sheet. 30 seconds and then 15 seconds time. So what I'm going to do is, are there any questions that I can answer? So there it is. I'm going to turn it around, and it's got a very colorful, it's got a very colorful bottom cake.
It's beautiful.
And you can make it as ugly as you want, depending on the pattern, or as pretty as you want. You can make blown sugar balls and do exactly the same thing. After you wet the cello, you can hold on to it, stretch it out a bit, and bring it down over the ball. And they can be all different images going all up your birthday cake and coming back down again. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute, and I'm going to get, this is a Smart Sheet. And I will tell you, some people are asked, what are the favorites that you have? And that's it, good, thank you. And what I have is, I favor all of them, because what I like about Icing image sheets are that if I run out of one thing, like if I was making, let's say I needed lace and I didn't have any of the Flex Frost or anything like that, I would make it out of a Smart Sheet. And it works just as well. And also cello, you can take the white sheet and put it into, wet it down and put it into your image, and you can make lace or your images from that too. So now what I'm going to do is cut the shape of possibly a wing, just randomly. I'm just going to cut it out like this, come around like this. There's 2 or 3 ways you can do this to make it easier on yourself. I'm going to take a sheet, roughly, of cello, and I'm going to again test, see which side is the sticky side and which side is the non-sticky side without licking my finger. Now, if I licked my finger and did that, I'm going to cut it off anyway. So I know that we often
What are you looking for when you do that?
I'm looking for the sticky side, and the sticky side is the printed side. The back side is the acetate paper, which is smooth. It will not be sticky. So I'm going to go down here and just put a mark straight through it, not all the way to the other side. And then I'm going to just turn it, and it's going to peel off, just like that. And what I was saying is there's an easy way of doing this, and then there's a little harder way of doing this. So that is cutting it individually. This is laying it on here, just like that, and then cutting your shape like this. And for me, I'm just going to cut it randomly. And I save those pieces because those are the pieces that I have. Now, if I want to narrow this down, I'm going to have this little piece over here, and I'm going to save it because that's part of my scraps. So I have this, and see these little pieces that have some of the cello on it and some of the Smart Sheet, I save those for, say, on top of the bird as a stamen in a flower, or on top of a bird, you know, to give it the little hair things that are on top. I can't remember the name of it right now, but they make a great little stamen. So those little things that have the cello on them, that they look kind of pretty and clear. So what I'm going to do with this, I'll set this guy over here, is I'm going to take the cello off of that and put the Smart Sheet down. And I like to use the rough side. So I'm going to do exactly the same with this. And I'm going to spritz it and a little shot onto the Smart Sheet. I'm going to lay this down over top of this. And this might stretch a little bit because of me. And that fits right on there. And done. So then what I do, I have these little formers that I had from Chicago School of Mold, but I use these a lot for when I want it to overlap and form. So what I'm going to do, if you notice how soft that is and how flexible it is, and I think you saw this in one of the demos. I think her last name is Tilly, or first name is Tilly. And she did a flower, and it was done from the Smart Sheet. And Cake Flicks, what's his name? He when I first saw it done, it was he that was doing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it a little more shot of vodka on that side, and then I'm going to form it over top of that and just leave it. And, you know, I don't put these in the dehydrator. Basically, I would cut the sides and make them all nice and pretty, which I'm going to do that right now with this one, with the scissors. Or else if you have spring scissors, it works pretty good too. And I just, whoops, cut that a little bit too much. Just go along there and cut uniformly if you want, or not. Sometimes a feather looks better if there's holes in it, gaps in it. Depends on what you're doing it for. So then this, I'm going to turn it upside down on one of these, or you can do it on a cup or anything. And in a 50 minutes or less, it can be dry. So then we have these. Magic.
Wow.
So we're going to put some of these feathers onto our bird. This is the Smart Sheet. And if you wanted to color the back, or you wanted to do the same thing on the back, all you do is turn it over and do exactly the same thing with the cello sheet and lay it on the back. Or you can spray it. You can use your airbrush, or you can use the can spray and just spray it, and it's a color on the back of it. I left it white because the bird is white. I think there is one here that I did paint in pink, but it may have walked across the floor somewhere. Not exactly sure. So here we have the feathers. And with the feathers, I just really adore using Isomalt for sticking things. And Deborah knows that. And yep. Sydney knows that. But if you're working with Isomalt, do put the gloves on, and the cotton gloves if you have them. If not, Sydney, and I'm not sure, maybe Deborah sells them also.
Yep, we do. We both sell them.
And I'm just going to show you how easy this is to stick. I'm going to get one of my little instruments here just in case. I do drip all over my fingers and you see me go do the Mexican hat dance. So I'm just going to put it on the side there. Can you see what I'm doing there? There we go.
Yeah.
You can see better now? Okay, so I'm just going to take a little Isomalt and just stick that little thing on there.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love how it just flows, but it's a different piece.
It just immediately goes to it, okay? And then give it a little more feather here. Bing. And there's young people that I give classes to that do this. I just want you to know that.
Everybody's quiet.
Yes, I hope that they're liking. I hope you're liking it. So there you are there. I'm going to work from this side now so you can see me. They may not be in the exact same order, but we can adjust them because the great thing about putting this onto cello is that if you have a Sharpie and you might place it in the wrong spot, you just take your little Sharpie and just go just like that, and it will come off. How do I know that? I've done it. I have had something go in its place, not where I wanted it to be. Now, I'm not putting gloves on, but you should wear gloves if you've not done this before, but don't be afraid of this because you work in ovens and cook and clean and do all the things around the house. There you go. That's Smart Sheet, and that will curl more or lessen. You can take some more Isomalt and lay them down flatter if you want. And his little tail, I really like his little tail. So I'm really not going to do a tail feather there. I do have one though, but I don't think it needs it. What do you think?
I think it's beautiful.
So there you have the bird. And what
That's phenomenal.
The little bird is for its beak. I'm just going to put a little spritz of alcohol in my painting area.
That is so pretty.
Thank you. It is pretty. That pattern is very pretty. That's from Simi, S-I-M-I. And put some glitter in here. Paint the beak up. Give it a finishing touch. And I don't have any of the black with me to paint the eyes, but you can imagine that how pretty it would look with its little blinking eyelashes along with it. Now for this, if you wanted to put the glitter right onto it, it's still damp. So you just tack it on gently. You can give it eyelashes with glitter. There you are.
Kathy Lorenzo says the wings are so cool. Love that. You can put cello sheet on Smart Sheet. And everybody else is kind of in awe.
Yes, thank you. Now this is the flower that's made out of the Smart Sheet. I'm just going to move the bird over a little bit because I'm going to make a flower for you. But this is the other flower that I was talking about. It's made out of a Smart Sheet and it lasts and lasts. It stays nice and soft. This is the rose. And it's done with a little spritz of the vodka. And I did wire this. I know, Deborah, you like things with wires in it. But this piece has been around for a long time. And it's safe. It won't break. You know what I'm saying? It's so smart that it's smart. So we're going to go over here. And this technique here is similar to what I was doing. We do have 20 minutes, so this is for Nicholas Lodge. This is another thing I was going to bring up is that Nicholas Lodge Legacy collection is on sale right now, and they have all, I think it's store-wide for 20% off. So see all this glitter and these this wonderful gold that I have. You can get all that on his site, 20% off.
And I will get you a link for that if somebody doesn't beat me to it.
Yes. I'm going to put the tail feathers on this because I really think that that's not doing its justice. I'm kind of finicky that way. I do like a little tail, but he looks naked. So I have some Isomalt here, and I'll just take that and stick this one here because we have them, so use them. Now this one here is the one we just finished doing, so it's not as curled up, but it will eventually curl. Okay, so we're going to set this out of the way. Over here. It has this little home out of the way. And I put a little dollop here of Isomalt so it would be set up before we started. And if I touch this right now, it's sticky. See that? My finger sticks right to it. And I could put some cello over top of that. And but that little dollop is for our flowers. So when I did the flowers, what I did was, again, I took the cello sheet and just laid it over top like I did with the bird feathers. I did exactly the same. You can cut them like, well, I'm just going to do it for you. I do have to get a little more water here to make sure we're on the right side. And it's nice and sticky. Yeah. Just give it a little split so you don't have to push too hard on it and cut your mat. I'm going to peel that off. And you're right, Deborah, be gentle. Sometimes I'm as gentle as I should be, but I'm going to lay this onto the Smart sheet. And I'm just going to cut a smaller petal. Now, keep in mind the petals for the flower, I like to have them totally dry. But I'm going to do some impressions on this one with this little spinner that we use for impressions, or the other pieces I use for making zippers and all kinds of things like that. So what I'm going to do is do the same thing. I'm going to spritz with the ink side. And you see how can you see how that's curling a little bit? So you just gently put that down on top of there. Now this is going to be a little stretched out. And if there's any openings that you've missed, just snip those off and save the cello that you snip off, because that makes great stamens afterwards. And I'm going to put it down here. Just going to hold it there. And I'm just going to put a little impression going up this way, this way, this way, just so it has some veining. And then I'm going to set it aside in one of my drying mats and just let it dry for like 20 minutes or so until it sets up. And it won't be long before it does set up, because that's why I like to use the vodka. So I'm going to ask Dave to warm up my Isomalt again, this perfect, wonderful life-saving Isomalt that I love. I used to temper my own, and the children and the young people that I was teaching didn't want to go near it. And then I discovered Semi. So I have some petals pre-made. I made some very tiny ones for the center, and that's what my little dollop is for here. I'm going to attach them to this dollop. You can make the sides of your petal with all, while you're cutting it, you can cut it with some impressions, just like I'm doing right there. Bring it around. You can make it in the shape of a rose petal. You can actually put them on like a rose. It would take a little longer this evening, and I didn't dry any ahead of time, but you can. So it can have some shapes on the side of it, and you can make them that way. Thank you. It's good. Now I'm going to use a little cold spray as we do this, just in case it doesn't stick right away. And I think I'm on time. I usually run over a lot, but I'm going to peel this.
Good.
I'm good.
People don't mind when you run over.
I run over a lot. So I'm just going to take a little bit. On the end of the petal. You can dip these too, but let's be. Now you don't have to have cold spray. You can use a fan. I'm using cold spray because that's just what I do. A lot of people don't use cold spray on Isomalt. Sometimes I like the Isomalt to cool off a little bit because it's going to knock the daylights out of my Smart sheet. But like I said, so we can move along, I'm using the cold spray. So if you wanted to, you could wait until your Isomalt is a little cooler. You can use cold spray with chocolate, and you can do the same thing with chocolate with these. You put a beautiful cello over chocolate, and if I had time, I'd show you that too. Sydney probably could show you that too also. She's a chocolatier. I'm not really, because I studied it, and it really wasn't my game, but I do it.
A lot of the same techniques though.
Same technique, you can do it with chocolate. You want to use the chocolate though for sticking, not Isomalt. You know why, eh? The Isomalt would melt your chocolate. Yes. So this is more of a fashionable lily, and you notice the marks on it. And then if you don't want to have to do the impressions, you don't have to do that at all. You can just wrinkle it up, and it makes a beautiful impression. Push that down. I'm going to put these little center pieces in there, so it actually does look like a flower, right? Finished, you mean? Be very careful if you're doing what I'm doing. Without any
most
gloves.
people don't have
my
hands like yours.
And my fingers are they're not sensitive. Okay. Now, this has not been, there is one petal amongst all of these that is pink. You'll see it. And I'm going to, I think I did that just in order to remember to spray it pink. If you have a couple of minutes, I'll spray that and it'll dry within just the same as this one. Now, what do you do with that?
Wow.
Oh my goodness, what do you do with that? Just one moment, I'm going to get my spray. I'm going to spray it over my sink so I don't get it everywhere. And then also what I like to do is I like to, while these are damp, which I didn't bring up, and Stacey will like this, as I put the sparkle on them, because I'm known for sparkle on my flowers. It's on my cakes. It's always got some form of sparkle within it. And you can just drop that. While that's still hot, we could drop a little bit of this into the middle. And it's got a center sparkle.
Oh yeah, bring it up higher a little bit. Oh, like towards your face. So there we go.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
got it's sparkling on the inside. The lighting is, I've got my upper lighting on, but it's not bringing it up. I'll just be 1 minute and I'll get the spray and spray the back end of that.
If you all have any questions, please feel free to ask. Also, I put a link to a contest that's going on. Just thought you guys might want to enter it since you can win like $250.
Because I'm spraying this, I'm going to put a glove on. And it's just, I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to hold it just like I'm holding it here. I've got the store-bought stuff. I usually use an airbrush, but give it a little shake. So I'm just going over the sink. I'm just going to give it some spritz. Just turn it pink. Yep.
Anybody have any questions in the meantime? I know you're kind of immersed in what's going on. Usually what happens when she's on.
So also what I like about this, when you spray the opposite side, if you look, you can see the pink coming through. Can you see that? See how the pink is coming through onto the petal? And then if I turn it upside down, we've got pink. Now, what do you do with these? Well, I'll tell you. On this cake, that's a little tacky. I didn't spray it, but I could have put the... If you wanted to adorn your cake that we have just made, say I didn't put the tail feathers, or I do have the tail feathers on, you can take these and stick them and have them coming cascading down. Or you can have them down here, part of your cake. This one's a little drier than that one. Let me see. I want to show you how it sticks onto. I think that'll be good there. I like to show how you can stick onto fondant Isomalt without causing a fire, burning up my leaves.
The power of the torch.
Power of the torch. On. So then you could cascade. If it was a taller cake, what I'd do is I'd bring it right down the tail feathers, right down and around to the front with this one, and have it cascading around. And there you have it.